Thank you for joining us for EZ-Links tutorial number 4. This tutorial is going to cover the procedure for booking a tee time. It goes without saying that in a golf operation, tee time revenue is our #1 source of revenue. So it is very important that as a staff we work very hard not only to find available tee times per prospective golfers, but also that we try to maximize the tee sheet in such a way that we can utilize it to its fullest extent and help us reach our revenue goals. So let's start with booking a tee time, and there are multiple ways to do this, and we're going to give a couple of examples. But when taking a call from a customer, you first have to determine which day and time they want to book a tee time, and what the general time preference would be that they're looking for. So let's say, for example, this caller calls and wants a tee time around 8 o'clock on Tuesday, March the 5th, which would be today's date. Now, if the golfer said something around 8 o'clock, what we would want to do is look and see if we, first, if we have any availability, and we've discussed how to look and tell if something is available. Next, we want to figure out how we would maximize the tee sheet. So the first offering that I would give this golfer would be 747, and I would do that so that we were able to keep our tee times consecutive and therefore keep more of the tee sheet available for larger groups if they called in. So once I determine the caller, we'll say in this case Mike Walters, I would say, Mr. Walters, I have a 7:47 time available. Would that work okay for you today? He may come back and say, no, I want something a little closer to 8 o'clock, in which case, at that time, I would probably give it to him. But I would nudge him in the direction of 7:47 if at all possible. So let's say that he says the 7:47 will work fine for him. There's a couple different ways to book. Number one, we can click and drag the tee time across to select 4 players and go up here to the top menu bar and click tee time. That will bring up the booking window. I'm going to cancel out of this and show you a couple other different ways to do that. The second way would be what we talked about in the last tutorial. We would click and drag the foursome, and then we would right click our mouse and select the tee time command. And very simply then we would go to the reservation type. But I'm going to cancel out of this as well and show you yet the quickest way to actually book a tee time. Remember that up top here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers of players. If we take the 7:47 tee time that Mr. Walters said that he was willing to book that day, I simply come over here to player number 4 and double click it, double left click I should say. That will give us the reservation window. So now what we're going to do is select the reservation type that we want to book. We will discuss the different types more at a different time, but for this instance we're going to use the regular reservation type. So we would now hit continue. And there you go. So now we're ready to book the tee time. Now it's important that we know as much about our customers as possible in order to further market our golf operation in the future. So at this stage of the booking, this is where we would determine if we already have the information of the golfer or if we will need to obtain the information from them. Excuse me. So we're going to go up to the search for window, and the caller is Mike Walters. So we're going to type in the last name Walters, and we're going to hit enter. And now we're going to see a whole list here of different people with the last name Walters. And if we go back up, we're looking for Mike Walters. Mr. Walters, where are you from? He responds, Zanesville, Ohio. Well, I see Mike Walters from Zanesville, Ohio here. I'm going to click on that. And now I'm going to recite to him, Mr. Walters, do you live at 41 Grandview Avenue, which we see right here in the window? He will indicate that, yes, that is him. I see that we already have his email address, which is a good thing. So now I'm ready to proceed with the booking. I come down and I hit OK. If there were any special notes that I needed to include here, Mr. Walters needed a set of rental clubs or something of that nature, I would put it in the notes column. What I also want to do is include my initials here as the person booking the tee time. So I put a KM in the initials box and I hit continue. And now we have the payment information or credit card reservation screen. This is to secure the booking. you can discuss with Mike Walters, the director of golf, what his stance is on collecting credit cards and what groups require a credit card, which ones don't. To proceed with this booking, I'm going to hit ignore because the system, if I try to continue without entering it, is going to say invalid credit card and that it is required. If I go over here to the left, I can hit ignore and bypass this. And again, you will want to discuss with Mike Walters what the policy is on taking the credit card. So now we're ready to close the reservation. And we're simply going to see the reservation screen here prompts us to say, thank you, Mr. Walters. You are reserved at Eagle Sticks Golf Club for 4 golfers starting at 7:47 on Tuesday, March the 5th. Your confirmation number is 303-393238. Now, what I prefer to do is ask the golfer if, instead of reading them the confirmation, if they would like me to send them an email confirmation. Mr. Walters already has an email address in here, so you can simply say to him, Mr. Walters, I'll be sending you an email confirmation with your details. Come down here and click continue, and you will see you have now completed the reservation. Now, let's take a step back and let's book a tee time for someone who is not in the database. So I'm going to go now and I'm going to book a tee time for Tracy Morrow. She's on the phone with us and she says she needs a tee time on Tuesday, March the 5th, somewhere around 8 o'clock. Mrs. Morrow, would 7:55 do okay with you today? She replies, yes, that would be fine. I'm going to come out and double click the 4-player column because she had requested 4 players. And I'm also going to select the regular reservation type. Now, as I go to the search for box and I type in the last name Morrow, a quick scan through here will show me that she is not in the database. So now what we need to do is create a new golfer in our database, and so we do that by simply selecting the new button. I select new. You see her last name will already be inserted into the field because we were searching for it. So I will now type her first name in. I'm going to scan over, hit the tab button, go down and ask her for her address. She lives at 2865 Jenkins Drive. And I'm going to tab again, 43701. Notice that when you hit the zip code, it automatically enters the city and state. So that's a nice little feature. Now I'm going to try to get a phone number. So I tab again, and I ask her for her phone, and I'm going to probably try to get a mobile. So I'll click on the mobile. 740-450-7875 is her phone number, and she is a female. I'm not going to, at this point, inquire about her birthday. But what I would like to do is say, Miss Morrow, would you like to give me an email address so that I can send you an email confirmation of your time? Most times when presented in that fashion, that you are trying to provide a service and provide them with a confirmation, they will be quite willing to give you the email address. So I'm going to go tmorrow7875@gmail.com. So now I have all the information needed. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to hit OK to continue. Now, if I need any notes, she needs a set of rental clubs. And I'm going to put my initials again in the box, KM. And we're ready to continue through with the booking. Now I continue through, and we're going to bypass the credit card confirmation. So I hit ignore. Thank you, Mrs. Morrow. You are reserved for 4 players at Eagle Sticks starting at 7:55 a.m. on Tuesday, March the 5th. And I will be emailing you a confirmation with the details of your tee time. Remember that in the future, and you'll notice here it prompts you to say this, remember that in the future, Mrs. Morrow, you can reserve tee times online at www.eaglesticks.com. Hit the continue button. And there we go. We have completed the booking. So that helps you understand, number one, 3 different ways that you can begin the reservation process, and also shows you how to book a tee time for someone who is currently in the database, as well as creating a new golfer in the database and making a reservation for that person as well. So thank you for listening to EZ Links Tee Time tutorial number 4.